Hi everyone! Let's go back to Wellesley, Massachusetts. I have another encounter that I'm excited to show you. Well, not these cartoon-looking birds from Disney movies. But Wellesley does look very curated. Every car is pristine. Statues without pigeon poop. Trees have haircuts more than I do. And the prettiest town hall I've ever seen. One that looks like the gingerbread house in Hansel and Gretel. What strikes me in America is that a lot of public places appear very patriotic. Can you guess what this cottage is? It's a fire department. I also like to find these Wellesley Historical Commission home plaques with the year that the houses were built. The atmosphere here is quite proper. You can't help but feel that residents here would make their voices heard. Someone's porch even jokingly has a list of rules. I decided to go to a restaurant for some late lunch. That's me in a proper wealthy town, having a tuna poke bowl that's judging my calorie intake. But then I saw a punk rock lady painting on the wall. I decided to talk to her. It was only after when I found out she's the renowned chalk artist Joan Aylward, aka ChalkBOS.
I've done a number of murals for this restaurant group, and with this location, the restaurant being a Tex-Mex feel, I asked, it's a collaboration with the client always, so I want to get a feel for the aesthetic of the restaurant and what they want to convey on the wall, so the artwork, what they wanted for feeling. So if they don't know and they want to leave it up to the artist, I try to get a few keywords that lead me down a certain path in my research phase. So I do a research, design, which takes many hours of looking at images, getting inspiration for something. I had a few other designs to show, and we came up with agave, right, for our tequila. And after I had a meeting here, I noticed the metallic ceilings, and really wanted to incorporate that as a feature in a mural, so that would tie in this copper color, this bronze color, ties that in nicely without being too loud. And the whole overall feeling of the wall is a nice, graceful, organic lines, nothing too cheesy or in your face, and that's it.
Did you notice all the colors before you painted the copper? Because it just feels like it's cohesive.
Yep, everything has a reason, everything's on purpose. Even the agave, like, is, you can notice the bar stool is kind of a little blue to them.
Oh wow!
Yeah. If you look at the setting, it's a very pretty restaurant, so it had to go along with that aesthetic and really feel like it lives in the right place.
How long would this take you?
I started yesterday morning.
Okay.
Worked all morning. So I always come with a design, either on paper or I mock up on the computer.
So what will be the final product?
I mean, my mock-up, I can show you. So this is the final design.
Right.
But I'm actually not that great at digital. So it's just like a real, like, this is the idea.
Okay.
But I knew like the background leaves would be the metallic.
Right.
And so that's what I'm working from. And then along with all of my inspiration photographs that I look at for reference and that. So, but there is one final goal, but obviously the finished piece is way more detailed and, more exact than my drawings. This town is very nice. It's a little upscale town, so we wanted to know your audience. We didn't want it to be like cheesy, and kind of goofy looking, tacos dancing or something, right? So it wouldn't go here. So there is a lot of work that goes into it before I get here. There's a lot of research design based.
So the clientele in Wellesley will be mostly
more so
students.
I think it's more like professional.
I went to one of the shops. Even the dogs were at the high end.
yeah, it's true. So right.
I love the juxtaposition of everything, the break.
Yeah, and the big thing to me was this busy wall over here, so I didn't want it to compete too much.
Yeah. I started to ask her about herself. So you've been in Boston all your life?
Yeah, I grew up right outside the city.
How long have you been doing this?
Probably since 2016 I went full-time. I worked in the restaurant industry for 20 years.
Yeah.
And every place that I worked at had a chalkboard. And then having an art background with art school, mass art, I started doing all the chalkboards at every restaurant I worked at, and people noticed it and asked me to do it other places, and it just took off, so I started a business. ChalkBOS for Boston.
Okay.
That's really, chalkboard menus and chalkboard items.
So what about your style? I mean, is it
My
something
style is
that...
very different all over the place. My typical, what I'm doing right now is like a realistic type of painting. So my style can change though with whatever the client wants. So I've done everything for, full like graffiti style, which I'm not really, expert at, but they ask me to do something like that, I'll come up with something, and whatever. So it's always client driven.
Joan was being too modest. Scrolling through her Facebook page gives you an idea of her versatility. She's drawn hundreds of art pieces on chalkboards, walls, window panes with different typographies. If you're in Boston, you would have seen her work all over town, but she's highly sought after even outside of Massachusetts. I feel that a chalk art business is really driven by word of mouth. So Joan's story is an example of grit. She told me she wanted to go to Massachusetts College of Art, Mass Art, since 4th grade. Her early career was in the art field, but when there were bills to be paid, she got a waitressing job and stayed in hospitality for 20 years. In one of the restaurants, her manager saw her talent, told her, "Here's a blank wall. I'll give you 2 weeks and you come back with a design." She did. And when the managers from another restaurant walked in, they asked her to do something for them. That's how the word spread. When attractive calligraphy is just nice to have, and it's probably the first expense to cut during the pandemic, restaurants still ask her to design takeaway menus. She wrote encouraging words on storefronts during lockdown. It says a lot about her reputation. I love the fact that she hadn't given up on her dreams or blamed life for being soul-crushing. She didn't look down on waitressing. That experience and talent make her unique. Can you count how many times she said, "I listen to the clients," and how much she considers the surroundings? I think that's why people like to work with her. We've talked for quite some time. I asked her what music she listens to when drawing. Turns out to be gangster rap and Luther Vandross. So this track is for you, Joan. It's incredible to have met you, and everyone could feel that you're passionate about what you do.
In downtown Boston. It's like a dive bar, but it's really cool. So this is just a close-up of painting brick, which is super difficult, as you can see. You know, there's 200-year-old bricks. Just basically to show, but the end result was that, and it's this section of the city is the theater district, name of the restaurant, and
you
used to be
there,
known
look at
as
that.
Combat Zone. So theater district and Combat Zone was strip clubs back, like right in the 70s and like rarely. So
Wow.
it's right on the cusp of both neighborhoods.
Okay.
So that's what we did, and because it's a jive bar, like we just did this little sexy, you know, and it was just like kind of cool. You'll see it when you follow.
Now let's look at the final product.
Taking my time to look at you after all that we've been through, wondering how you can do it. Kissing and agree with someone new. Is she the one you've been dying for? Keeping you out here more and more. You've been missing on your IG. Guess you thought I couldn't find her ID. You can't hide the truth. Now I know